Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm just here to give you guys a quick preview and predictions for Survivor Series tomorrow night, pretty much because I haven't really had a chance to really talk about Survivor Series on terms of the main roster person, so I just figured that I would come on here real quick and go through it. Pretty much, I'm not going to go through like every little thing about it since I'm not really watching much of Raw and SmackDown. The only things I'm really watching is anytime NXT is on, pretty much. So what I'm going to do is just go over the next few weeks of Raw and SmackDown and talk about any time NXT was on it, and then give my quick predictions of Survivor Series. So let me go through that now. Starting with SmackDown from November 8th, 2019, since there was some NXT inclusion. Um, you know, pretty much how this went was um, it was in the UK, so this was taped, so you already kind of knew what was going to happen if you read the spoilers and such. SmackDown and Raw from that week were taped simultaneously on the same show, so there you go. Um, so I'm just going to talk about some stuff that happened. I'm not going to go through this stuff in depthly just because it's been a few weeks, but um, the Boston Hug Connection do an interview, and pretty much they were talking about how they build the foundation NXT women have now. Since they had the awesome matches in NXT and they got the women's division and like Evolution really going, and said that if they show up here, they're pretty much gonna beat the crap out of them. Pretty simple stuff. Um, then later on in the show, Shayna Baszler attacked Bayley after she had a match and just laid her out completely. And like Sasha Banks tried to like run her off, but she came down like after Baszler's already done attacking, so that didn't really make any sense. But I like the Shayna Baszler attack. Then Dana Brooke and Carmella got interviewed, um, and they were pretty much successful in a match, so now it qualified them to represent the SmackDown woman in that Survivor Series. And at that point, it was Sasha Banks, Carmella, and Dana Brooke. And then Heavy Machinery later on in the night was supposed to have a match. I don't know who it was supposed to be against, but then Imperium came out and they attacked Heavy Machinery and they were just beating the crap out of them. But then the Cavalry came out being Kofi Kingston, Big E, Shorty G, Ali, and somebody else. I forget who. Oh, Apollo Crews. And I think like Kalisto and Lindsay Dorado. I don't think it was the whole Lucha House Party, but that was basically it. And that was the NXT inclusion. This actually was fine. I liked how Imperium showed up. That was cool. I liked how Baszler showed up. And I forgot to mention on commentary for SmackDown was Corey Graves and Michael Cole. So there's that. And that was the invasion for SmackDown, and then Raw, which was aired on Veterans Day, November 11th, 2019. It's sort of funny, like WWE.com exclusive, because it was Peyton Royce's birthday, like over that weekend. So the Iconics were going around, and they were going around to like various superstars to see if they like remembered. Seth Rollins didn't remember. Kyle O'Reilly didn't remember. Who else didn't remember? The Kabuki Warriors didn't know. And R-Truth like pretended he didn't know, so they did some funny stuff with that. It was quite funny. And then Bobby Lashley and Montez Ford kind of talked about their time in the service, in the military and such, growing up in like a military family. Since it was Veterans Day, I figured I'd talk about that. Then Vlog like kicked right off. We had Vic Joseph and Jerry the Kim Lawler on commentary for the show. It was only them, and they were on the ringside instead of being on the stage for some reason. And it kicked right off. It was a women's tag team championship match. Women's tag team champions, the Kabuki Warriors versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Becky Lynch came out and talked about how she's pretty much the top woman in all of WWE, and everyone's looking to pick a fight with her. So that was kind of that. And we proceeded to have the match, and eventually Shayna Baszler came out, and this distracted Charlotte Flair, and it allowed, I think, Kairi Sane to roll up Charlotte Flair, and they retained the women's tag team titles. And afterwards, tried to ambush Shayna Baszler, but then she just gets taken out by Baszler, and then she tries to take out Becky, but Becky fights her off. And then Bayley cowardly shoves Becky into the barricades, so that was that. I actually didn't mind this. You had to make Bayley look strong somewhat, but really it didn't really do that because she just basically only got the advantage because she used heel tactics, and it didn't really make her look all that strong. Then later on in the night, Seth Rollins came out to do a promo, and he was challenging anybody to come out and face him in a match. And then Imperium showed up, which I loved, and Walter, and they do the whole thing where they talk about the match isn't sacred, and Walter took up Seth Rollins on his challenge, and they perceived to have a fairly good match. I really liked it. And then the rest of Imperium get involved when Seth Rollins is, you know, about to win, and um, you know, eventually, when Imperium's beating down Rollins, Kevin Owens and the Street Profits come out to make the save, and leads to an 8-man tag. And Seth Rollins, Street Profits, and Kevin Owens win, which I really don't agree with. I think they should have had Imperium look strong and win. And you know, um, make him look like a threat since the NXT UK faction. And Seth Rollins pinned Alexander Wolf. So I actually think they could have changed this up and have like Walter get the win on like Montez Ford or something like that, because that would have been fine. But that's not what they did. I wasn't really a fan of that. Then later on in the show, the Viking Raiders face Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. They showed like a little video package for them. I loved Jerry the Kid Lawler on the show where he didn't really know who any of them were. And like he said, he looked up Flash Morgan Webster, but he actually looked up Flash Gordon, which was funny. But Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews looked strong in the beginning, but then they just get destroyed by the Viking Raiders and lose with a Viking experience. Really didn't care much for that. I really didn't think they made NXT UK look like a threat force to be reckoned with, which makes no sense. They were trying to advertise NXT UK to people that like never watched it. It's like, why would people watch it when all the guys are losing? So that was stupid. So then the only notable and then we found out on Raw that the Raw team that's going to be, because it's going to be a 5-on-5-on-5 match at Survivor Series. It's going to be 5 male wrestlers from Raw, 5 male wrestlers from SmackDown, and 5 male wrestlers from NXT. And the 5 male wrestlers on Raw are going to be captained by Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Ricochet, Randy Orton, and Drew McIntyre. So there's that. Then backstage on November 12th, 2019, which was hosted by Booker T, Renee Young, Samoa Joe, and Paige. I've already broken down mainly everything I wanted to, but I want to go through, because this is where they announced the men's team for Team SmackDown, which is captained by Roman Reigns. Also on it is King Corbin, Shorty G, Mustafa Ali. He finally got his name back on this show, which was cool. And Mustafa Ali... forget who else is on the team. Oh, Braun Strowman. So there's that. And then on the bump, which aired on November 13th, 2019, which is hosted by Caleb Braxton, Matt Camp, Evan T. Mack, Dan Volmeyer, and Ryan Popola. It just showed Mustafa Ali getting interviewed. I've kind of already broken this down before, so there's that. Then we had SmackDown for November 15th, 2019. We had the same people on commentary. Going through it, the Revival invoked their rematch clause for the SmackDown Tag Team titles against Kofi Kingston and Big E because they lost them, which I'm not a fan of. I really wanted to see the Revival in there with the Viking Raiders and Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, but it didn't happen. But before that, like, Kofi and Big E get interviewed. It's really sad to see what's happened with Kofi. He pretty much just, right after he lost the WWE Championship, just went right back to the tag division. So that's really sad. It's like if you quit watching WWE from pretty much February until October 4th, during this whole main event push, And like, if you heard nothing about it, you would never know that that guy was a WWE champ. It's really sad. Um, and um, but we proceeded to have the match, and it was a very good match. The match gets thrown out because the Undisputed Era come out and get involved, and they lay out everybody, so that was good. I like the fact that they look strong. Eventually, just various superstars from backstage come out and chase them off, like the Lucha House Party, Drew Gulak, um, Shorty G, and Mustafa Ali. So there's that, and Heavy Machinery. Um, then this is when the Revival lash out at the Undisputed Era for costing the SmackDown Tag Team titles, which led to that match on NXT this week, which I've already broken down. The Boss and Hug Connection get interviewed, and they talk about Bayley invaded NXT that week, um, and how Sasha Banks is going to take care of Nikki Cross because she's not fit to be on the team. We also had found out before this on this show that Lacey Evans was now going to be part of the 5-on-5 match for the SmackDown Woman. So then we had Sasha Banks versus Nikki Cross, and if Nikki Cross wins, she gets added to the SmackDown Women's Survivor Series team. Um, the match gets thrown out right away because Shayna Baszler shows up and attacks Sasha Bayley, and then she attacks, and then Sasha Banks tries to attack her, and then eventually Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, and Team Kick run out, and it turns into a brawl. Carmella, Dana Brooke, and somebody else. No, I think that's it. I think Lacey Evans. I think. Oh, no, I forget who it was. It was. Oh no, that's it. Yeah, it was Carmella and Dana Brooke run out, and everyone's fighting off the NXT. So Sasha challenges them all to a tag match, and it was Sasha Banks, Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, and Carmella versus Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, and Team Kick. NXT lost, which I wasn't a fan of because of the invading force. This should have been made to look strong, especially if you have a team like Team Kick, Mia Yim, and Rhea Ripley going up against a team like Carmella, Dana Brooke, Sasha Banks, and Nikki Cross. It did tie into the story because this was how Nikki Cross got added to the team because she got the pinfall win, so that was fine, I guess. And obviously, too, it kind of ties into the story of NXT that they have going on, where Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler thought that Dakota Kai was a wasted pick because she's the one that took the fall heel, so it ain't all bad, but I just wasn't personally a fan of that. Then afterwards, Nikki Cross in an interview saying that she should be, on the team. So then we have Raw from this week, November 18th, 2019, where it was the same people on commentary throughout the show. Samoa Joe kept coming out to do commentary. I didn't hear all of his commentary work because I didn't watch the whole Raw, but from what I heard from him, he sounded fantastic. Obviously, because he's awesome on the mic. And I hope they just have him do that while he's out due to injury. And after Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair won a match, we also had found out on this show that Charlotte Flair was gonna go up. It was gonna captain Raw in the women's 5-on-5 Survivor Series team. It's the same thing as the men's. It's 5 Raw women, 5 SmackDown women, and 5 NXT women. Yeah, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch have won the match, and then Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, and Marina Shafir come out to attack them, and then they just take off. But then Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch just run to the crowd, and security's holding them back and such. So that was good. And then afterwards, they all do interviews. Becky Lynch talked about how she doesn't, how she's the top woman on Raw. Shayna Baszler, same thing. Charlotte Flair, same thing. Then after Kevin Owens had a match, Triple H tried to lure Kevin Owens to NXT. Except he kind of does it the same way he tried to do it with Seth Rollins, except he kind of talks him into it a different way where everyone kind of thought he wasn't going to be something and all that type of stuff. He had NXT out there the Forgotten Sons, Dominic Dijakovic and Damian Priest. And as this is happening, the Undisputed Era come out to attack Kevin Owens. And we had EC3, Eric Young, Cedric Alexander, and various other Raw superstars come out to make the save, so that was fine. I liked it. Then we had Raw, SmackDown, and NXT Superstars Clash in an all-out brawl. So what happened here was it was during a Raw Tag Team Championship match between the Viking Raiders versus Ricochet and Randy Orton, and SmackDown Superstars came out like the Lucha House Party, Heavy Machinery, Cesaro, and somebody else, and they're attacking Raw, and then all the Raw Superstars went out, and then all the NXT Superstars went out, like the Undisputed Era, Dijakovic, Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne, and such. And they lay him out and such, and it's this big brawl, and Triple H shows up on the screen and says, and basically he opens the door and challenges anybody from Raw or SmackDown to come to NXT, which was awesome, and it led to that great NXT episode. So that was everything they did for Raw for the invasion. Then on the bump, because there's something that happened on backstage, but I want to save it for a future wrestling rundown segment. But the bump took place on November 20th, 2019 with the same hosts. Heavy Machinery got interviewed. This was funny. They did like a bit with Mandy Rose, and there's a whole thing on Instagram and such where like Otis is like in love with Mandy Rose, so this was funny. Then we had SmackDown for November 22nd, 2019. I watched actually quite a bit of SmackDown because a lot of it was just building the Survivor Series. It showed SmackDown backstage, and King Corbin's trying to get like everyone's attention. But since Roman Reigns is the captain, they listen to him, and Roman Reigns opens the door so like Raw and NXT can show up, and King Corbin doesn't agree with this, so that was cool. And then Sasha Banks says that this team SmackDown women are gonna go take care of business, which is now fully functionable in formation. It's now Team SmackDown. It's Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross. That's a pretty crappy team, in my opinion. And Sasha Banks basically just calls out anyone from any of the brands to come out. And Charlotte Flair came out, and she comes out with the Kabuki Warriors, Natalya, and Sarah Logan. So that's going to be Team Raw. And Charlotte Flair basically challenges her to a one-on-one match, but then Team NXT comes out. I like how they came out to the crowd. That was cool. And we had Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, Tegan Knox. Let me look it up because I want to make sure I don't get this wrong. So it was, hold on. It's on Tony Storm's Instagram page. I just want to make sure that I get this correct. Because it's on her Instagram page. Okay, so it was Candice LeRae. And Rhea Ripley wants it to make it a triple threat match, so they have that match. That match was very good. Rhea Ripley actually got the win when Charlotte Flair was putting her into the figure eight, and Rhea Ripley pins Charlotte Flair and gets the win, which I actually really like how they did that. That was very smart, made everyone look strong. And then King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode are backstage just talking crap about Roman Reigns and say that if NXT shows up, they're just going to beat them down. Then Sami Zayn shows up and he has something in a bag and he talks crap to him and then he goes out to the ring. And then we have Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. And Sami Zayn's talking crap saying that Shinsuke Nakamura is the best Intercontinental Champion. He makes a joke how he doesn't know Roderick Strong's name, which was funny. And he presents him with the new Intercontinental Championship. I really like the design. I know a lot of people are complaining because it's ripping off PWG, but I really don't have a problem with that. I still think the design looks really cool. And afterwards, the Undisputed Era come out and basically say that they're going to take care of business. So it's Undisputed Era versus Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Heavy Machinery. Undisputed Era get the win, which I was happy about. And afterwards, Roderick Strong goes up to Shinsuke Nakamura, and they get into face-to-face, and AJ Styles attacks them from behind. And it's a big brawl, but Sami Zayn lays them both out with a steel chair. I really like how they did this. And then afterwards, the OC is out there, and AJ Styles says that it's going to win the triple threat for the mid-card title with championship, so I really like that. Before that, Bayley got interviewed, and she challenged Shayna Baszler to come face her face-to-face, and Shayna Baszler did that, but Bayley attacked her from behind, but basically couldn't lay out Shayna Baszler because she's too strong. Then we had the Raw invasion at the end. It was after a 6-man tag, and um, Roman Reigns is standing tall, and Raw comes out being Seth Rollins, the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, and other people, the OC, and Raw's attacking him, and then SmackDown comes out being Lucha House Party, Drew Gulak, Braun Strowman, Drake Maverick, and other people, and it's a big brawl, and then NXT comes out and they come out with the tank like they did to WCW back in 1998, I think it was. And it's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg like leading it, and you see all the NXT superstars we've been seeing, included some 205 like Leo Rush, Jack Gallagher, the Sin Brothers, Arya Daivari. We've also saw like Tyler Bates and Imperium. And it's this big melee brawl towards the end, and it was absolutely awesome. Keith Lee hits a spirit bomb on I think Seth Rollins, and then he gets a dive on everybody, and it's this big melee dive, and then towards the end, DX jokes that they're gonna let Baron Corbin in, but then eventually they just lay him out. Road Dogg attacks him, hits a few punches, and then Shawn Michaels to Sweet Chin Music. Triple H hits a pedigree, and this was just absolutely awesome. It was a great way to build towards Survivor Series, so I really enjoyed that. Um, then on to my predictions for Survivor Series. I'll go through that real quick. Um, I think I'm mainly just very interested in the show because NXT is playing a part in it. The thing I'm the most nervous about is how NXT is going to look on this show. Because I really hope it's not one of those things where, Raw and USA doesn't want to make Raw look weak, and Fox doesn't want to make SmackDown look weak, so they're just kind of throwing NXT in there to kind of take the falls and stuff. I really hope that doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen that way just because they're going up against All Elite Wrestling every week. NXT is, and that would look really bad if NXT lost all the matches. So I think they should make it even, and I hope that's what happens. But let me go through the code. Starting with the NXT Championship match, it's going to be Adam Cole defending against the winner of a triple threat match at NXT TakeOver War Games between Pete Dunne, Damian Priest, and Killian Dane. I'd imagine Pete Dunne's going to win that, just because I think that's the best match that you can get out of it. Regardless of that, though, I do think Adam Cole is going to keep the title. I don't really see him losing it, especially on Survivor Series. I think he would lose it on an NXT show. And I think, Adam Cole just is really doing really well as champion. I think they're not going to have him lose the title, especially because all the members of Undisputed Era are champions, so I don't really think that makes much sense. So I hope that's what happens. Then we have a WWE Universal Championship match. WWE Universal Champion The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan. I really don't know anything that's going on with this feud because I don't care because it's main roster. I really think it's a bad idea to do this because I know they want to make The Fiend look really strong and such, but it's like Daniel Bryan just turned babyface. I feel like having him get squashed is a bad idea. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. As for the winner, I want Daniel Bryan to win. So I'm just going to pick that. I really could care less about this, though, so I'm just kind of throwing a prediction at the wall and hope it sticks. Then we have a champion versus champion triple threat match. Was United States champion AJ Styles versus SmackDown's Intercontinental champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus NXT's North American champion Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong wins. I'm in favor of NXT, so I'm just going to pick him to win and by pinning Shinsuke Nakamura. I won't be that mad if AJ Styles won because I actually like AJ Styles, but I think I'm just going to be biased and pick NXT. Then we have a 5-on-5-on-5 men's Survivor Series triple threat elimination match. Team Raw being captained by Seth Rollins. Also on it is Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Ricochet versus Team SmackDown's captained by Roman Reigns. Also on is Mustafa Ali, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and Shorty G. And on NXT is yet to be determined. I'd imagine the NXT team is going to consist of Tommaso Ciampa, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and maybe Damian Priest and whoever's on, and Dijakovic or something like that, or whoever the mystery partner is. in the War Games match, maybe Kushida, something like that. But I'm picking NXT because I'm an NXT fanboy, so I don't want the main roster to win. Then we have a 5-on-5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series Triple Threat Elimination match. It's Team Raw being captained by Charlotte Flair. Also on it is Natalya, the Kabuki Warriors, and Sarah Logan. Random team. I actually don't mind it, though. Versus Team SmackDown's captained by Sasha Banks. Also on it is Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross. That's a crappy team. Versus Team NXT, captained by Rhea Ripley and 4 members yet to be decided. I'd imagine the 4 members are going to be like Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, and Tony Storm, the same people that were on SmackDown this week. I think that would make sense. And I'm picking NXT because I'm an NXT fanboy. Then we have a champion versus champion versus champion, brand versus brand versus brand, triple threat tag team match. It's Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders versus SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Big E and Kofi Kingston versus NXT Tag Team Champions, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly because I'm an NXT fanboy. Then we have a champion versus champion versus champion, brand versus brand versus brand, triple threat match. It's Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch versus SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley versus NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler's going to win because I'm an NXT fanboy. And then we have a no-holds-barred match for the WWE Championship. WWE Champion Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio. I know some of the build because I was watching, the Raw episode where Brock Lesnar, beat down Rey Mysterio, and then Rey Mysterio tried to put in a heavy to take him out, but then that didn't work, so now it's doing this. I think I'm going to be go bold and say Rey Mysterio wins because I read online recently that he has an opt-out after WrestleMania to leave WWE and leave his contract. And I think WWE is going to feel that he's going to go to All Elite Wrestling. So I actually think they're going to put the championship on Rey Mysterio to keep him happy. So I think that's what's going to happen. And then that's my predictions. I'll repeat them real quick. So I predict Adam Cole to retain the NXT Championship, Daniel Bryan to become the new Universal Champion, Roderick Strong to win the men's triple threat match. Team NXT to push. I pretty much picked Team NXT, the whole brand, to pitch a shout out, and Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio to become the new WWE champion. And those are all of my thoughts on the main roster. I will be covering Survivor Series on the rundown, and it should definitely be the last, hopefully, main roster talk for a long time. So yes, I'm happy about that. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers and Owner Talking to YouTube channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.